Hello. Today I want to talk about approval seeking behavior. Approval seeking behavior is something that people who are people pleasers do. You seek the approval of other people and pretty much take big actions toward getting their approval. And it usually starts in childhood, where as a kid, of course, we all seek our parents' approval. But for some people, it becomes an a necessity to get your parents' approval or have them give you compliments or be proud of you. And that's good for a kid. But as you get older into adulthood, it's not so good because it's hard to get people's approval. They may not give it to you, or they may not be thinking about the fact that you need their approval, and it can be very hurtful and disappointing. And what I have seen is that people who need other people's approval go to huge extremes, huge inconveniences, put themselves all out to try to get the approval of another person. And at times they don't get it. Even the most that they do still won't get it. And that's because a lot of times the people whose approval you seek, they're not thinking about it. They don't have any idea that you need their approval. And they're not concentrating on your needs at the moment. So it can be very difficult to get the approval that you seek and desire. Now, one thing that I do in my sessions, had done as a counselor, is be very careful about giving compliments uh, and validation. And that's because I did not want my clients to become dependent upon my approval. If you think about it as a therapist, in the position that I was in, for people who are people pleasers, they could easily become addicted to getting my approval. So, for example, if my clients achieve something great, I would say, you should be proud of yourself, instead of saying, oh, I'm so proud of you. That way, it gives the person more power over their lives. Being proud of yourself is something you can do for yourself. But getting me to be proud of you just puts me in the position of being the one whose approval you're seeking. So, a lot of times people, once their parents are gone, or if they can't get their parents' approval, they will seek the approval of other people who they consider to be authorities. And that could be a counselor or a pastor or a supervisor at work or an older relative, grandparents, aunts, uncles, whoever they decide is worthy of some type of esteem. That person can become the target of their people pleasing and approval seeking. So if this describes you, I want you to be aware of the fact that you don't have to please anybody but God. God is the only person you need to know that you are a good person. You are worthy of his love. You are important. You are beautiful. You are smart. And you are his child. You don't need the world's approval. You don't need your pastor's approval. You don't need anybody else's approval. And if you do, we have to work on that. Give yourself your approval. Believe in yourself. Be proud of yourself, because that way you can control how you feel on a daily basis. So let's give up the approval-seeking behavior. And by give up, I mean work on it, because I know it's not that easy to give it up, especially if it started in childhood. It's not something you can just give up. But let's start working on it every day. Affirm yourself. The Bible says you are the head and not the tail. You are heir of God, joint heir of Christ. You are more than a conqueror. Look in the Word and see what God has to say about you. If he was willing and thought enough of you to give his only son, he must think you're pretty great. And I want you to think you're pretty great too. Okay? Have a good day.